Hey everyone, how are ya? Bess McCarty here in Victoria, Kansas, and this is the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. It's every 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, on the Facebook group MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Facebook group. So this is a show sponsored by the MLM Millionaire Academy, our generic school for network marketers. It's over 10 years old online, and it's been helping people jump ranks like crazy. We teach a method called a favor script, which always gets a yes, never gets objections. It's simple, easy, duplicatable, and it's the best method I've ever seen in network marketing. In all my years of being a full-time network marketer and curating the top network marketing teachers, it's the best method that I've ever seen to grow your business very fast and help get your recruits started fast too, and for long-lasting results. We teach the 10 core commitments in the school, MLM Millionaire Academy, and I'll post a link below. You could find it at the mlmmillionaireclub.com/basics. And today, what we do is we sponsor this show for personal growth. Every month we cover a new book. The book today and this month is John Maxwell's book, Winning with People. Incredible, incredible book for relationships, for business, for personal life, for happiness all around, to learn that communication, that valuing, how to get along with people, how to win with people, actually. So similar to Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, only this is written in a current time. So I really value this book. Okay, so this usually during the weekdays you can find either Jeffrey David Gamble and Brandy Pember presenting this, or me at the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show Facebook group. Today the chapter that I'm covering is called The Patience Principle. And this says that when you journey with others, well, I'll put it in a real simple way. Essentially, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So in a nutshell, that's the value of this chapter. And it takes patience to be able to do that, right? So for those of us who like to go fast, yeah, we might need to remind ourselves, so what's the benefit of going with people? Why do I want to go with people? Because I can go farther. Because no successful person has ever succeeded alone. And we know that very much in network marketing, don't we? You can't do network marketing alone. You could do direct sales, but you cannot build a residual income. And therefore be able to reach a lot more people exponentially than you could alone with your product or service. If you really believe in it, you want to help people, then you're going to train other people, to reach much more people than you can. And it's going to exponentially propagate the good that can be done. So the bigger the team, the more we work with people, the more good we can do in the world. And that shows itself very well in network marketing. It's a team sport. Any success really is. So no one ever succeeds alone. And the principle, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, reminds me of the story about the physically and mentally challenged kids who had a race. And this one little boy was close to winning when he realized that one of his teammates and friends fell. What he did is he stopped, did not cross the finish line. He went back to go lift up that child and help them and walk together with them across the finish line. And that child, to me, has priorities in a place where I want to as well. That to me is the priorities in the right place, that according to my values. So I want to be like that, because before I've been tempted, to go for what I want and not slow down and help another person. So that has been a sort of a signature reminder for me over time. John Maxwell gives that story in his book. He says, he goes, after 30 some years of travel, he said, I've got it down. If I travel alone, I can get on the plane fast. I don't check a bag and all that stuff. If Margaret, his wife, and I he said, when we travel together, we kind of got our system down now, as a team and after all these years. But when I travel with my family, our kids, their kids, our parents, it's a much slower thing. and I wouldn't trade family for anything, but I do need to remind myself, this is going to take time. We're going to move at a much slower pace. And so I can really relate to that. He says, in the past when I was younger, he said, I'd cast a vision for my people in the organization, then leave them behind. Me too. Like, what's more valuable to me though? Accomplishing my thing that I have this brilliant idea for, this urge to do, and the speed at which I want to do it, and to have it done my way. That's another thing that I see in myself. When I do it alone, I get to have my way. But how good is it without other people's input? I think my way's so great. Other people might say, hey, I see some flaws in your plan. We would slow you down if we helped, but I think you're going to go farther, by listening to other people, not just doing it your way and rushing into a disaster, which I've done, thinking, I can do it myself. So he says, people who are least inclined to have patience need patience to develop patience. So how do you get out of that? Well, he's got some tips for us. And he says, number one, prioritize patience as a virtue worthy of developing. In other words, value it. And it was Arnold Glasgow who said, the key to everything is patience. You get the chicken by hatching the egg, not by smashing it. And I'm remembering my little dog, Charlie. I would walk Charlie. You might have seen him on some of my past videos here, little beige, cute little Chihuahua Terrier. We had such a love bond. 15 years he was with me and just a part of me. And over the last part of his life, he seemed to slow down a lot. He was always, I say, he doesn't take, he's always like this. I say, Charlie doesn't take walks, he takes thorough investigations. He has to smell every leaf and every spot on the sidewalk, right, to see if it's can eat it or what. But he's always been pokey, but he even slowed down even more. And so when I used to go for walks, I thought, man, how am I going to get my mile in today? How am I going to get my aerobic in? I got to, be back by a certain time. Come on, Charlie, come on. Let's move along. Let's not smell every little thing. But now I realize that probably, I didn't know that was, he was doing that the last year of his life, and I thought he was real healthy and all that, and he ate a raw food diet and all that. And I didn't realize that, man, this is going to be the last year of his life, So I became impatient with him. I thought, he's just dawdling. It's not that he's feeling old or, anything like that. He's just dawdling. Come on, Charlie, come on. I tried to pull him along. And one day he just looked at me like this, like, what are you doing? This isn't you usually just yanking me along and pulling me along, And all of a sudden, I thought, you're right. I don't need to do this, right? So I figured out a way where we could both have our needs met. He could go as fast as slow as he wanted, and I could get my aerobic in. So what we did is he would stop, and smell something for, it seems like infinity. And what I would do is I would walk back and forth. I would go as long as the leash would take me in one direction, then I would go as far as it would take me in the opposite direction. And I just keep going back and forth on this walk, getting, as fast as I want to get my exercise in, while he took his time just smelling things. And then he'd move up a little bit, few yards, and smell something there, and then I'd do my back and forth pace again there. And the neighbors probably thought that I looked pretty weird, but, Charlie and I were good. We found a way, I found a way to meet both of our needs. He could take his time and I could get my exercise in. And so it looked weird, but that was from a book that I read a long ago, forget the name, that said you don't need to ever compromise. In a relationship, in a couple, you can just keep searching until you find the way to get both of your needs met. You don't need to, you might have to compromise how you get them met, but you keep searching and you keep working till you get both your needs met. I like that a lot. So that helps me to have patience too. And John Maxwell says, you don't see a return right away. Sometimes it's later, but the return that the other person sees is that you were kind, you were helpful with them, even though the return might come in later, like network marketing does. But Aristotle said the greatest virtues are those that are most useful to other people. Other people. That's how we serve life. Number 2 tip, understand that relationships take time to build. All good relationships take time. The bigger the organization, the longer it takes, and the deeper the relationship, the longer that it takes. Number 3, practice the exchange principle. In other words, exchange places with somebody, step into their shoes, and realize, appreciate how other people think and be sensitive to how they feel. So I'm going to read this to you. It's really cool. He says, every person thinks his problems are biggest, his jokes are funniest, his prayers are most important, his situation is different, his victories are the best, and his faults are the smallest and should be overlooked. Have you ever felt like that? That person's faults are obvious and they should change it, but mine, they're small. They're nothing. They should not be given attention to. Nobody should ask me to change, but that person definitely, he should take a look at himself, right? We always minimize our own faults. So we each feel that, we're special. We deserve special patience from people. We deserve extra patience from people. And he said, tells a story about a lady stuck at a stoplight, couldn't get her car started. And the car behind her was honking, and he could have gone around it, but instead he laid in his horn. And so finally she went back there, and he rolled down his window kind of surprised, and she goes, tell you what, you start the car, and I'll stay back here and honk for you. So I like that too. Number 4 tip, realize that people have and create problems. He says, John Maxwell says, the good news is that people closest to you will be your greatest joy, and they'll also bring you your greatest problems. It's a package deal. It comes together. And there's leadership experts who say that their top executives spend about 90% of their time cleaning up messy people problems or concerned with the messiness of people problems. So that's what we can expect, as a leader in anything. I've seen this in nonprofit organizations and in network marketing. I've coached leaders who had to deal with how to negotiate with people and gossip in their upline, and how to talk to their company in a way that was diplomatic. So I've coached people on this. I've seen this a lot. But he said it's a package deal. Charlie's pet sitter used to say, Charlie had a thing about being scared of shoes, and he'd snap at people's shoes. And he goes, don't worry about it. Every dog has their quirks. So do we. People do too. We make room for them. And John Maxwell says one thing that helps him to be more patient is to ask people to identify areas where people need patience with you. So he says, ask a close friend, 3 to 5 close friends or family, where do they find they need extra patience with you? And when we do that, I think it brings that humility and that compassion. When we keep in mind that others are being patient with us, it helps us to be more patient with them. I think that is true for me. Number 6, recognize that all relationships have give-ups, give-ins, and give and takes. So every relationship will have to have a give-up. I'm thinking of my son who has a new 8-month-old baby, and he said, Mom, I can't read my National Geographics cover to cover anymore. I said, one day you will, but look what you get in exchange. Also he had to give up his school. He had to interrupt his school to be able to be a dad. And that's a trade-off, isn't it? So every relationship also has give-ins, things that we don't like to do. John Maxwell says, I don't like to exercise, but I do like to be around for my family and be healthy for them. So, and he said every relationship has give and takes, like we do things for each other that we don't have to. All of this is voluntary, but we do special things for each other, and that's what really feeds a relationship. But he said these are all voluntary. We have to be flexible. And when it's like, who should be flexible? When it comes to that, it's whoever can be the most. Whoever is suffering the most might be the one given the most patience. Whoever is the most flexible or better at something might give the other person leeway. As Joyce Brothers says, the more maneuverable boat should give way to the less flexible craft. And I really like that. Consider that there's some personalities, like in the disc personality, the D and the I, the faster moving people might need to slow down for the slower moving people. And how can they do that? I do it by remembering that people slow down for me, taking a breath, standing in their shoes help me. And he says, what kind of situations make people more impatient with others? I knew